What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Punk and Link. I'm Link,
I'm Punk.
and it is a beautiful August the 8th of 2017 today. How are you doing today, my good sir?
It's hot outside. It's
Yeah?
pretty hot.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we both reside in the wonderful, beautiful God's waiting room that is Florida. And a lot of people like to say, "Oh man, you're in Florida. You get the warmth." No, we don't get warmth. We get straight heat. It's 93 degrees outside. I just got my electricity bill, by the way. I don't know if this is the same for you. I know you've lived in apartments before or whatever, but I live in a one-bedroom apartment, and you've seen it. It's pretty small, right? Um, my electricity bill was $170 this month, just from cooling. I know that's like 80% of it. We have a washer and dryer, but we don't use that nearly as much. But oh well, I guess that's a rant for another day. But Punk, I actually have a surprise for you. Um, so
Surprise.
we were going over our show notes and what we were gonna do, uh, and I failed to tell Punk one thing, and I'm pretty excited at this point to tell you. So you remember the movie Dodgeball, correct?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're aware in that movie they make a reference to something called ESPN the Eight, also known as the Ocho.
The Ocho, yeah.
Yeah, the Ocho. Today and today only on ESPN.com, there is an actual the Ocho channel that has Premier League Dodgeball coming live from the United States. I shit you not.
Why
And you
wasn't
are
I?
you are able to watch this live, and it's part of their whole deal because today is of course 8/8, and so they have said they're going to try to do this again in the future, but at least for today they are broadcasting Dodgeball on the Ocho.
I really truly wish that I was allowed to participate in dodgeball because I used to be pretty good.
You know, I was never really good. uh Part of that was I want to blame it on Tourette's, right? Like I want to so bad say it was Tourette's, but I was just an uncoordinated, Gumby looking dumbass who couldn't do anything worth a damn when I was in the early parts of high school.
Well, I mean, using it to your advantage, you could probably get more oomph on the ball while you're throwing.
Probably
You know?
dodge unintentionally too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Whoa! Oh, look at that, MVP. Anyway, uh, Sir Punk, I saw you were streaming on Mixer. I tuned in for a couple minutes. I didn't really say anything, but what consisted of your night? What all did you play and what all did you do?
Tried to broadcast Sniper Elite. It failed horribly. It's something with the game and talking to like Mixer back and forth. I guess like digitally, it just didn't work properly. So it just kept cutting out, and I was like, ah. Then I broadcasted earlier during the day. I did Injustice 2, which was before our show, and afterwards I did a little bit of GTA. GTA was fun. Just playing around, just messing around, just making sure that it's working properly. Because if you go a day without streaming and then you stream the next day, it gets a little difficult to try to figure out if there's any residing issues with the program or if anything's not working. I am part of a preview program on Xbox, which is essentially I am a tester dummy when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to I'm a
Yeah,
lab
I
rat.
am as well. I know.
Yeah, I'm a lab rat for updates, and that's precisely what we are into today. We'll talk about that later in a few minutes, but there's I did Texas Hold'em last night on the 360. Did it from my backwards compatible app.
That's interesting.
I broadcasted some of that, and there was actually people on the game online. There was people online playing Texas Hold'em on the 360.
Well, I'll tell you, I know you've probably had this before. Uh, I've been shocked sometimes when I go back and play an online game that's been out for nearly 10 years and people
Yeah.
are still playing it. Uh, it always kind of gives me that nostalgic feeling. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It just kind of makes you feel good. But that's pretty cool. Because of our discussions yesterday on the new Spider-Man game, I re-downloaded the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Um, I wanted to do this just because I had that urge and that craving, and I wanted to play for maybe like I'm not wanting to take it seriously, but maybe play for like 2 or 3 hours, just move on, get my fill. You know how sometimes you get a craving for a game, no matter how bad it is or how much you hate the game, just the premise you want to go do something in that game, and so you have to do it.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was. So I was in that place, so I did that. I played a few Overwatch games. In the past 20 games I've played on Overwatch, I have won 18, drew one, and lost one.
Nice.
So I am on a roll, and it's mostly because I'm just playing easy to play champs and kind of running all over people. I found that people who are at lower elos in the game or lower ranks just try too hard to play the flashy champs.
Yeah.
They saw their favorite pro play it, so obviously they can play it. And in doing that, they're bad at positioning, they're poor at aiming, and you just get a bunch of wins. But that was kind of my experience.
You quickly glanced over Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I'm going to bring you back to that.
Uh-oh.
So was it the equivalent to 40-Year-Old Virgin where Steve Carell says, I made an egg salad sandwich, then afterwards I wasn't even hungry?
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably about it. And you know what the funny part is? It is that, because I do have it downloaded, but I have not played it. It'd be similar to that if the egg salad sandwich was spoiled. I guess that's probably the best analogy. That's a solid analogy, Punk. You get a 4 out of 5 for that analogy. Before we jump into our talking points today, I of course have to do the joke of the day, and you have to let me know if this is worthy of your time, and you got to rate it out of 5, remember, and then tell me if you would use it.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just jump right in. Once again, this is another one I can't take credit for. The wonderful World Wide Web gave this to me via Reddit. A man named Legendary Falcon posted it, so I don't think we could possibly go wrong. A photon is going through airport security. The TSA asks, do you have any luggage, sir? The photon says, no, I'm traveling light. Get it? Now, for those of you out here who are scratching your head, I was pretty amused by that. I actually laughed out loud, literally. I was actually having a rough morning, and I had a little bit of an attitude, and reading that joke kind of changed my pace. So, Punk, yesterday you said, I believe it was a solid 5. The joke I told yesterday. So I
it was
need
a George
to know,
Carlin 5. Yeah.
Yes. So I need to know. Remember, 1 is Amy Schumer. 5 is old school Adam Sandler. I need to know where in the scale I'm ranking for today.
I would say it's a level 3
Ugh.
comedian Sinbad.
Old Sinbad?
Later years, which means more Christian.
Oh. I feel like I failed. I got religious Sinbad on my score. That's pretty bad. Oh well. Okay. Well, before we move on, I also want to make another quick announcement. Some people might have noticed that a certain somebody changed his camera angle and where he's sitting and what he's broadcasting from. We had an increasingly frustrating day yesterday of almost 6 to 7 hours to do an hour and a half show. But that was because of a lot of disconnects and stuff. But hopefully we've got it figured out now. So I guess I'm saying thank you for bearing with us, especially yesterday, which was very rough as we move on. But now we get to see a new perspective of Punk, which is always enlightening. Speaking of enlightening perspectives, today we want to go over a few things. We have a game we'd like to review for you. but not in the typical sense of doing a game that just came out. We want to do a game that's been out on the market for quite a little bit. Actually, it's funny. We were talking yesterday about 10-year games and games that last and last and last and don't seem to die. Believe it or not, the original launch date for the game I'm about to talk about with you, Punk, is almost 5 years ago. So we are talking about Grand Theft Auto 5, which has been out 5 years, been through multiple different systems, anything from the original 360 and PS3 versions all the way up till now, where you can play it on either the next-gen consoles or the PC. We want to kind of not only review the game, give a score out of 10, we want to review one of the biggest components of it, which is the online play. And then on top of that, we're going to kind of talk about what they're doing now with it and what's making it last and if we like it or if we don't like it and stuff like that. So let's just start with this simple question, Punk. Grand Theft Auto 5, overall, what would you give it out of 10? Would you recommend it to people even today? Would you have recommended it back then? And what are your overall thoughts on it?
I'd give it up until this point, right? Just overall up until this point.
Correct. Today, August 8th, somebody comes to you and says, Punk, GTA is on sale, which it is on Xbox. GTA is on sale. I can pick it up for $30. What do I do?
Now, I'm torn between this because there are moments where GTA will bring really good content. And the only content that has ever been missing in this entire game since its release 5 years ago is DLC. And I'm not talking about online. I'm talking about a prolonged idea of maybe a character that you saved, a character that didn't die, anything that happened in your game. The idea of prolonging that single player experience for the gamer. I give it a 9 out of 10, but it's a loose 1 point that it loses because it's given us so much at the actual in the actual game in terms of free multiplayer content. But we all know why we got the free multiplayer content in the first place.
Right.
It's because when the game first released, it was so broken in the multiplayer that nobody could play, nobody can connect. There was only like maybe 1,000 people out of the millions who purchased it that were able to play it, and that hurt them bad. And those people that bought this, a lot of people don't know, is that game was actually shipped with a season pass, and you could purchase the season pass for, I think it was $50 or $60, much like Call of Duty or Battlefield. Well, those people that paid $60 or $50 got that in shark currency on the game, and that's another thing that leads me into why it gets a 9 out of 10 is because the shark currency is way off balance in terms of USD to in-game credits and in-game money. So 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay, not bad. I'm gonna spin off a little bit here.
Okay.
Before
Let's
I give
spin.
my thoughts.
Spin it.
Obviously, for those of you who don't know, Punk plays religiously on Xbox. I play religiously on PC. So we bring two different perspectives of this, but we have the newer versions of the game. Let me ask you this first. Going back to the single player, when did you beat the single player? Did you do it on the original version on the 360?
I did it on the 360 and then also did it on the One.
Okay, so you beat the game overall
both times.
on the
Yeah.
One. Okay. So I will say spoilers here, because I'm not sure what all you guys know. But once again, the game's been out for 5 years. If you haven't beat the single player, you're probably either not going to, or you don't really care that I'm about to spoil it. So at the end, when you're faced with the choice, and you can either kill Trevor or Michael or neither, right? I feel like there are so many avenues that you could go down there in terms of, like you were saying, DLC.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it's not DLC, well, it's still technically DLC, but even if it's a free DLC, like a little booster, like a prologue kind of deal.
Like 2 or 3 spider webs going off in different directions for
Correct.
like another 3 hours.
Correct.
With that character surviving, with dialogue changing, they could have done that.
I was telling John this, Mountain Dew, one of our good friends. I think single player Grand Theft Auto 5 is up there in my top 5 for games that I've played.
Oh yeah,
I,
yeah, definitely.
and that's saying a lot because Punk in the past 3 or 4 years that I played it, I haven't touched single player at all.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
So none of us have right now.
doesn't that say a lot though? This is a top 5 single player game for me, yet I haven't touched it in 3 or 4 years and I've only played the online. The
And
online
that's
is good, don't get me wrong. But
yeah.
the single player, for what it was amazing.
It
It
was one of the
was
many games that you can play with your friends in the sense of in the same room and they're watching all the crazy shit happening. And then after you got shot by the cops or you got arrested, your buddy took the controller from you and then you started trading off that way. It was just it's a really good experience for this game, but I feel like the longevity of single player is what might kill it, for the long run. Now, I'm really hoping, of course, for 6, but we'll get to that here in a little bit.
right.
So
And to a sense, I mean, even if the servers went down tomorrow and the game didn't work and your single player was stuck where it is, the game's already a success. I mean, once again, 5 years over a total of what? 5 different consoles because you did both the PlayStation and Xbox on both gens, and then PC.
PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, and then PC.
Yeah.
PC, I'm amazed they even got that on PC, to tell you the truth.
And that's a whole nother thing because the delay to get on PC was phenomenal. And there were a lot of concerns and reasons for that. I want to go back to one thing you said real quick, and then I want to give my overall rating. I think the shark card issue is amazing.
Yeah.
I played with a strong group of friends on the 360 when this game first came out. And you're right, they had a lot of issues, and I believe they even issued everybody like an apology $100,000.
They gave you, and they did it again
that.
recently too for loyalty.
Right. So they tried to make up for it, and obviously that's way in the past now.
Yeah.
But the shark card issue, it amazed me that people ever bought shark cards. Now,
it's a lot of money.
I had a friend that he was doing pretty well in his life, and he went and bought one of the super ones, like the $50 or $100 ones, and I just couldn't understand it. I was like, dude, why do that? He goes, I wanted this plane. I said, buddy, we're crushing missions right now, and I remember there was one mission in particular, took 20 minutes, got you 20 grand. And so we just grinded that till our thumbs were sore, basically. But the shark card thing doesn't make any sense, especially in today's day and age where I play on PC, and I promise you can't go into a room without somebody handing you millions of dollars via hacks or whatever it is. So overall, I got to agree with you. If we're just doing out of 10, I got to give it a 9. The 9 comes in because Rockstar has had server issues. And the consoles that they've released to have had their own individual issues that have limited them, which isn't necessarily Rockstar's fault, but they're not about to get a shining star for it either. Thinking specifically in terms of Xbox, there have been a lot of disconnects to where you got this whole night planned, right? And you sit down at 6 and you're like, man, I don't got to work tomorrow. I can stay up till 2 a.m. And it literally takes you till 11 p.m. to actually get in a room and stay in a room. And then all of a sudden your friends are like, let's go do a heist. And the same thing starts all over again. And
or the heist, finishing the heist and getting booted just before you get the rewards. And it's like it never happened.
Another thing that kind of takes away from them is, I won't say a lack of fulfilling their promises, because they come through with what they promise.
Yeah.
But the time frame that it takes them is nothing short of substantial. While we're talking about it, speaking of which, the heist. when the game first came out on the 360, there was talk that they were working on it. Then Rockstar confirmed it, and then a year went by. Then they released their new version. Then another 6 months went by. Then they were like, hey, in 3 months, we're releasing the heist. So in total, it took 2 years from when we first heard about it directly from Rockstar for them to come out with heist. And once again, when they came out, they were extremely buggy. It was like, how did you take an extra 2 years on this and still not have it perfect out the gate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think in today's day and age, especially where you've got games like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which I'm a huge fan of, where they are literally sending out 3 messages on Facebook every single day about the status of their servers, the status of their updates, what they're working on next, and when it'll be done. And they follow those to a T. And if they're late even by a minute, issue the biggest apology you could ever see.
Yeah.
And
I think
in today's day and age, I think Rockstar has to step up to that. Now, Rockstar does a lot of things right. And I was talking about the campaign. Punk, that's probably the single best campaign online combo out of any game I've ever played.
Oh, yeah.
At all.
Yeah. They learned a lot from Red Dead Redemption.
Exactly.
When they had a stellar single... that's the one thing that we can never... I mean, we're not saying anything bad about Rockstar, of course, but we're saying that when Rockstar first started a lot of stuff, then let's talk about even Max Payne before. I mean, Max Payne has some great writing in it, and it has some fun single player, great moments, and then the multiplayer had so many aspects to it. And all of these are Rockstar products. The only thing that kills me is that if you guys remember in Max Payne 3, you could lay on the ground after you dive, turn your right thumbstick all the way around in a circle. Your character, if you're on a leaning area, will actually roll down the hill in a 360-degree angle. You'll sit there and keep rolling around, and you can go down all the way to the bottom of the hill. I thought those kind of things, because they talked about utilizing stuff from previous products, was going to be somewhat added to GTA. Think of being able to lay down on a big mountainside in GTA and like mess around with your buddies and be able to hide away from the cops instead of sitting like a stoic figure that barely budges when you try to move them around an object, or the hiding mechanics and stuff. And I thought this kind of stuff was going to exist, and that's what it's kind of runs along with that sense of like I don't want to say incompetence, but not learning from their own mistakes. Whereas it took 5 years for them to finally start saying stuff and then actually following up with it. They did it. It took 2 years to bring out the heist. Right. So they were like, oh, it's coming out. Well, now I think every other company may have just learned from those mistakes. I think every other company looked at it, and sadly enough, Rockstar's fans are very loyal. We're very loyal. I'll buy any Rockstar product that hits the market because I know it's a quality product. Mm-hmm. Now, it's what they do after the game that releases that truly defines how much they care about the game. Now, I know Rockstar cares about GTA 5. We've seen it. Look at all the content they've given us. I think they've done well enough for us, which is fine. But that's why they get that hard 9 out of 10. Because I'm not going to fault them for everything else. I've already docked them 1 point for their mistakes. So I mean, I've understood the apology, and it's I'm sure you have too, where it's like they've given us a lot. I think now, though, it's where we move towards no more promises and leaving us with empty hands. I think that's the biggest thing as gamers.
Right. So one thing I'll add about the whole Rockstar, their company as a whole, one thing they have perfected that even companies like Bethesda, because you're wearing the Pip-Boy shirt, have yet to, is the when it comes to open world games, the balance between doing what you want and everything and mission play is so perfect out of Rockstar. Like, we see nothing like that anywhere else. Take Fallout 4, for example, right? I've played probably 150 hours in that game. I haven't beat the main storyline. I haven't either.
On precedence, I do not beat it until I hear of another one.
my thing isn't that though. My thing is I just don't care. I mean, perfect open world situation. You can run anywhere, do anything. It's a lot of fun. You can build your own base. A lot of that stuff is cool. That's great, and I love doing it. I've put my time into it. I have no care about the main storyline, and I feel like if you were to tell me between a modern day crime spree story and a post-apocalyptic living situation, which story would I want to complete first? I would think that Fallout would take that, but it just doesn't because they haven't perfected that. Whereas Rockstar, I believe, has, where it's both, oh my God, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, and I want to do that. I don't have enough time to do it all. And before I know it, I've spent 20 hours in one day on the game, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to get up and go play it. And another GTA to come out would literally be the game to make me say, you know what, work, I need a week off. I just need time. You know what I mean? Fuck off,
boss.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying to you. And other companies, they're great. I mean, the Fallout series, Skyrim, stuff like this, they're great. But that's not something I'm taking a week off work for. Grand Theft Auto is.
I think with the Fallout thing, and it's great that you have that look at it, because I have a similar look towards it. The only thing that kills me and that I feel like it took away from Fallout 4 was we were given a dev kit in the game to be able to make stuff in Fallout 4, the bases, the places that you're looking over. The only problem that kills in me is that's what hurt the story, I think, for the majority of the time, is because they added all these things and it became too taxing to a player. I'm spending too much time away from the story. How am I supposed to become encumbered and engrossed in such a big, lush story if you take me away from it and tell me to stay out here for 15 hours?
One of the things I love in open world games is the ability to customize, whether it be your character or it be your living space, especially a living space.
Yeah.
And one of the cool parts about Grand Theft Auto is the living space for your characters was part of the story. As you move on, the characters move to different locations.
It's part of their upbringing,
it's part of their lore, their story. Yes. And Fallout just throws it at you in the beginning and says, hey, make a base. By the way, continue the main storyline. You're only 2 missions in.
Whereas Fallout 3, I love the story for Fallout 3, of course, because it has Liam Neeson, Liam... of course, the guy who plays in Taken, the main character of Taken, was also in the Star Wars episode franchise. And I love the whole bridge between taking actual actors and knowing who they are, because that will also bring me into as a gamer. And the only thing that kills me about 4 is a lot of those voices, they don't resonate with me. I think that the overshadowing voiceover from Liam in the third one was he's the one who brings you into the world. And then you have, was it Liam? Oh, was it Ron Perlman? He says war never changes, right?
Right.
Yeah, he's the one that does that one. If they had more of him in Fallout 4, I'd probably love it too. I mean, it's just, I feel like 4 is just too taxing. Whereas GTA 5 has a set stuff for you to do, but it gives you the idea of being able to take control, take all these things. And Fallout 4 gives you control. And I just think at that point, from playing Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, there's so much in Fallout 4, and I love Bethesda for it. And the mods and all that stuff that they've given us are great, and I'm so happy for them. But the only difference between me is I don't feel encumbered in the storyline anymore, and I feel like it's because they gave me too many other things to do, and you need to lead somebody if you're doing a story. Sometimes you got to tell the story. It's like an old grandfather sitting next to a bed telling a grandson a story. I mean, that's what GTA does. It gives you the freedom to think for yourself. But it's still overtly got some single-player story that it wants you to listen to. It wants you to follow. And then all the other stuff is on your time to run around and free roam and mess around, go to a movie and watch a movie. I think that's the difference, and that's why you're right. I like Grand Theft Auto 5's story when put up against Fallout 4, because Fallout 4's story just seemed kind of bland. I wasn't engrossed in it.
Right. So to rope it back in, overall, we both think it's a 9 out of 10. It's a solid game. And honestly, if you asked me this 4 years ago when it had been out on 360 for a year, I'm probably telling you 7 out of 10, maybe 8, maybe. Just because the story was great, it was kick-ass, but the online was failing and stuff like that. Now they've got a good balance, they've got a good hold. There are still some issues I'm aware
We
of,
still get
but
booted from Heist, yeah.
there are still some issues, but that's why they lost the point in my eyes. But nonetheless, we'll kind of keep it moving on here. Um, Now, obviously, gaming is a big part of our background, our story, our knowledge, and furthermore, why we do this show. However, there are real world issues going on every day. And so we don't want to ignore them necessarily. We want to kind of bring it out, hence the IRL title in our videos. So, with that being said, Punk, I'm wondering what in recent news, President Trump's 200-day mark just passed, right? And there's been a lot of opinions floating around everywhere. Some people, and you know, I don't have to tell you guys this, right? Some people hate him, some people love him, some people like him, some people aren't sure, some people don't know he's president, um, and and everything in between.
They don't have Twitter.
I swear to God, man. Because, you know, if you left the day before election day on, like, say, one time I was reading about this lady who went on a big boat trip and she lost all contact with the outside world for basically 100 days or something like that, and then came back. And it was right around the time Tiger Woods got busted and all that. So they were listing all the stuff that she had missed and she didn't
9
know
iron
about.
in the back window.
So maybe if you've been out on a boat for 300 days and you have no clue and you left the day before election day, maybe you think Clinton's president. I don't know. Maybe something like that. But no matter what your opinion is, Punk and I think, want to elaborate kind of on what we feel about the world today, about the president, about kind of what's happening, especially for people in our age group, which is the majority of people watching this, I believe. We don't necessarily want to say, okay, well, he released this policy. How do we feel about that policy? We want to give our overall view on the world as it stands today. And so, with that, I guess I'll ask you, Punk, what overall is your opinion on what the world has become specifically since Trump took over?
I feel like the easiest way to put this is I have never noticed such segregation. The easiest thing, him becoming president, showed us how unstable and not in unison we are as a country. I feel like there's one side, there's another side, and there's a triple side just sitting there, and it's a triangle not working together. The sides aren't equal, and in my eyes, that's not even a proper triangle. So,
right. Now I want to clarify for everybody watching.
All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me? There we go.
Yep. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. A little mix up. That's part of the Microsoft talk we're gonna have. You know, controllers just all of a sudden randomly turning off.
Thanks, Trump. Anyway,
thanks, Trump. But yeah, I think what it mostly tells us is how divided we are, and we're not united as we stand, and that's something we need to work on. Right. It's not one person is not at fault for this. This is years and years.
That's what I want to specify. I want to make this perfectly clear. Our view on the world since Trump took over doesn't necessarily have to do with Trump. As a matter of fact, I believe most of what has caused my view that I'm about to give is caused by the people who are out in the street shouting, "Not my president," or vice versa, the people who are out there throwing things at the people who are saying, "Not my president." Both sides are idiotic.
Yeah.
In all seriousness. There are three facts you have to realize when it comes to this. One, you are not moving out of the country. A lot of people got this whole spiel about I'm leaving. I'm tired of it. I can't believe this.
Out.
Blah blah blah. Yeah. and I loved the Facebook post that went around that said, "It's funny how many people I see who were saying that, this little bit ago that are now waving the flag on 4th of July." That's comical.
Did you buy fireworks? Well, you're not allowed to blow shit up. I'm sorry. Give it to the next in line.
Second fact. Trump is president. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to tell you if you didn't know, and I hate to disappoint you if you don't want to accept it, but he's in the Oval Office. Sorry. Third fact. You directly cannot change that. I am so sorry that you disagree and you have your own opinion, but clearly he was voted in, and a lot of people will give shit about how, he wasn't the popular vote, blah, 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 blah. We have a system that has been in place for many years, the same system that elected all the Democrats, elected all the Republicans, and up till this point, there have been 2 instances I can remember where people complained about that electoral college. Now, personally, I'll tell you, I'm a Republican, but I disagree with the electoral college. Yet, I didn't hear people complaining about it necessarily when Obama won his first election before even half the votes were counted. To me, a system is messed up if that happens. But anyway, I digress.
It's just one of those things where you look at it and you're like, look, this is why some of us gamers stay in the console. This is why we play video games, because the sad part is, who's more adult? The person throwing shit at somebody and beating somebody to death just because they chose to vote something, or a person who decides to play video games because, you know what, they're just going to look the other way. We got another 4 years coming up. You got another 4 years after that. Let's look to the future.
Yep.
And stop trying to destroy the present.
Yep. And by the way, a lot of things have gotten better since Trump became president. And I know I'll probably get flack for this. You're a Republican. Of course you'd say that. Look, unemployment's at an all-time low all across the country. Florida itself is below 2%, which statistically, if you go below 2.5% unemployment, it's considered you can get a job instantly.
Yeah.
So I tend to think the country is doing okay. I think Punk's right. I think there's a lot of hate and segregation, and I don't necessarily think that's to blame on one person. I think it's to blame on the whole group.
It's just a pile of dirty dishes that were never cleaned.
Correct. Yep. Yep. And guess what? Shift change and a new dishwasher came in. They're still sitting there dirty. And that
there are quite a few still dirty. Yeah, I agree. There's stuff that still needs to happen, but it's not going to happen overnight. Right. It's not going to be possible. Yep. Also, a good note. Here's another good note. We haven't had a terrorist attack in the last 200 days. I call that a plus. I call that a plus.
Not
over here. It's happened over there, and why? What's the difference right now as opposed to the last 8 years before?
No, I agree. You don't have to tell me. You really don't.
So that's a bonus for us. We're doing good. We're doing okay, and we're going to live to see tomorrow.
Yep. And of course there's
it's terrible that happened to them. It's terrible that it really has, but for us as a country, as unified, we are strong together, and nothing has happened so far. We're doing good.
I think there are hundreds of issues we could jump into. Well, Trump said this, Trump did this, the new law is this, the new law is that, Trump wasn't allowed to do this. We could go through the specifics, and I'm sure you've seen them all in the news and everything, but I think that's just beside the point, right? I think how we feel is how we feel, and I think that's the main point we wanted to convey. And maybe certain topics, like certain bans from military or certain laws that go into effect that people don't agree with, I think maybe those are topics for different days. But I just wanted to kind of get a feel for the room and how we feel. And I think you're right. I think now more than ever, and that's saying a lot because we've had a civil war in our past, the country is divided. And it's not just a clear this versus this. It's this versus this because of this, this, and this because this hates this and this hates this. And, you know, there's like 8 or 9 different sides. And it's more than one issue, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just economic, rich versus poor.
Collective of issues, collective amount.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just rich versus poor. It's colors and it's race and it's disabilities and it's
welfare, money,
genders. It's a whole thing.
Gender thing is just crazy, but we'll touch on that one other day.
We'll have to. We might have
a whole other can of worms.
Next show document. But
yeah.
Anyway, off the controversial topic.
Which, out of all respect, we respect everybody's opinions. And if you guys have an opinion and you want to talk about it civilized, or you want to hang out, or just maybe you feel the same way, that's why we have a comment section. We totally understand.
Somebody in this show said Timothy Dalton was top 3 James Bond, so obviously we'll listen.
I'll probably get some flack for Timothy Dalton being the top 3 of James Bonds, but that's completely okay too. But we want you guys to have your own voice. We don't censor anything. Of course, they got to abide by the rights and like no policing people, no bullying, that kind of stuff. So if you want to actually, hang out, talk, we have all the means to do so. We do on our broadcast. We actually really don't ban people. We don't moderate people too much, dealing with trolls even. We'll give you a chance.
Only banned, in my thousands of hours of broadcasting, I can only specifically remember banning 3 people.
Yeah.
And they were most of the times people who had been moderators for me.
Oof.
And
that's
just turned.
Banning a moderator is hard. That's it's like beating the shit out of your son and never telling them why.
If you think for a couple minutes, you can probably guess who the 2 I had to do it to was. And then I had one other guy who would just go in there and literally I got to the point where I had to ban him for spamming. Or ban him for spamming, not ban him for spamming. I don't know what the hell that is. Anyway, we'll move on. I think we're about at 42 minutes runtime or something like that. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. We're aiming for about an hour-long show or something like that for you guys today. Punk and I haven't discussed what our plans are for the rest of the week and stuff. I know Punk's got a few things going on tomorrow, as do I. So I'm not sure if we'll be having a show tomorrow, but we'll definitely try to get a couple more in throughout the week here and figure that out. But anyway, moving on to a less serious but more fun topic. One thing that I do probably the most besides gaming is watch TV. I like to get into shows and I like to binge watch shows, and once I'm done with the shows, I go back, read all the interesting facts about it, post on the internet about it. I have a good time doing that and review it overall. So I guess my question to you, Punk, is if you had to name like 1 or 2 shows that you're really into right now, what would they be and why? And do you suggest them or?
I got 3 shows. I'll say 3 shows. Not gonna lie, maybe 4 shows, and they're gonna be really quick. The Following, which has already been canceled. I loved the show. It was a very good psychological thriller. It had a lot of murders in it. It was very adult. It had a lot of blood. So if you like gore, horror style, blood, amounts of killings in it, it was pretty good. And that was the one that was starring Kevin Bacon and James Purefoy. You have to watch it if you haven't given it a shot. If you're looking for something to watch on Netflix, just look up The Following. Only 3 seasons though, because it was actually stopped. It's kind of like a bring back Firefly status right now. The IT Crowd, for those of you freaks and geeks that really enjoy good old witty banter back and forth with a little bit of college humor in it. That one has 5 seasons. Really, really worth it. And right now I'm powering through, and I know you're not a fan too much of DC, Link, but I'm still powering through it right now. Arrow. I'm watching Arrow. I'm enjoying it. I do feel I'm on the 3rd season towards the tail end, and I feel like they've brought in way too many characters because there's just a lot of shit going on, but that's okay. It is what it is.
That's the problem with DC.
They bring in a lot of stuff, and they're trying to create. They did a good job so far to create a universe built around Arrow because they know how good the character was like hell or was held by the fans. People really enjoy it. You know, and what's his name? Oh, God damn it! I was just watching him. The person who plays Arrow right now, he was also in the newest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, Out of the Shadows, which was like a Saturday morning motion picture, real life. It was okay, but a lot of people didn't like it. Stephen Amell, Stephen Amell is the guy who plays Arrow, and it's good. It has good a good origin story to it. Much like Bruce Wayne, he's a billionaire. Comes back, starts utilizing things, that kind of stuff. I don't want to give too much away, but he's been through a lot, and I feel like because it has so many episodes in a season, it's something worth watching too. Because it's not only a decent show, but it also has a lot of content. Which the problem with a lot of good shows is we usually find out about them like Stranger Things, and I love this show. And you only get one season, and it's like 10 episodes long. And you're like, okay, now what the hell do I do for the next year? Because I have to wait for this to come out. So, Marvel's The Defenders comes out this month. It's August. Ooh, I gotta watch that. But I do like the series for Marvel on Netflix. Any of them, they're all pretty good. I even enjoyed Iron Fist, even though there were some things missing. But I'll deal with it for right now.
So,
like a mafia wife.
I guess it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Something I want to clarify. I don't like superhero TV shows, like in general, and especially when they're related to DC. I can't.
How'd you feel about Smallville?
I just can't. I just can't. I can't. I struggle with DC alone, and then I also struggle like Agents of Shield. I don't watch that. Come on.
I can only watch the first season.
Come on. Just stop. I know you got the MCU going on, and you're trying so hard to just monetize it in any way you can. Wonderful. Good for you. Don't do it. Just come on. Give me a break, please. Please. It's gotten to the point, and I'm a huge Marvel comic book fan. Ask anybody, they'll tell you how many Marvel comic books I have read and just loved and can't stop talking about to this day. How many series I've gone through. It's gotten to the point now, Punk, where every 2 months there's a new Marvel comic
they are
movie
killing
coming
it.
out.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Everything, even the original ones. I say original, but stuff like Ant-Man and things that come out that are just Deadpool a while ago. Things that come out and are by themselves just great and aren't necessarily Captain America 7 or something stupid. I just struggle not only to watch them all, but to enjoy them all. And
yeah, I feel like they're scrambling too much. Whereas, like, you're a kid and you get to go to the store and your mom says you could pick out one piece of candy, and then you give her the puppy eyes with 3 in your hand. I think that's kind of how Marvel's acting with these TV shows. They're like, I got 3.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there. Oh, okay, I don't have anything else to fucking watch. So they're just giving us.
Anyway, TV show I'm addicted to right now is called The Last Ship. I was telling you about this. It's it's pretty solid. It's kind of like the movie Contagion. It's that, but in a TV show, and it's kind of unique. The premise is this ship goes out to the Antarctic, and while they're out there, a virus starts to spread throughout the main world, and they don't know.
Oh.
And then they get halfway back, and they realize they can go out and find the cure and stuff, and they work towards that. And I don't want to spoil too much, but it's actually very, very good. It is, and it focuses a lot, kind of like The Walking Dead does, where The Walking Dead treats zombies like this show treats the disease. In other words, it's kind of like the reason everything is what it is, but it's not the focal point of the show. The focal point is the people at war with each other for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of cool. I really enjoy the show, and I am on the last available season on Hulu now, and I know they're starting a new season at the end of this month. So that'll be.
Did
cool
you know
to
when
check.
the focal point stuff of people going against people really started? Have you ever actually looked back in cinema and found out where it started? And you won't guess the movie. I can almost guarantee it.
Was it like what was that Japanese movie? The one where they all got put on the island. Was that it?
Ooh.
You know what I'm talking about? What was the name of that? Battle Royale.
No, but that is a good one. But that didn't really get big over here because of it. It wasn't in mainstream for over here.
Right.
The mainstream one was a Tom Cruise film, and it was War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
When all the people are scrambling and beating each other up, and he's having to drive the car with people hanging on it because it's the only working vehicle.
Yeah.
A lot of this stemmed from that film, and it's
not only in film now; it's in TV shows, and there are whole.
It's in TV shows. Walking Dead is a big part of it. I mean, we're talking The Last Ship. I can only imagine would be people against people because you're trying to survive. People will do
it's kinda
anything.
like the disease wipes out everything, including the government. So then it's just people fending for themselves and
people running their own government, pretty much.
it's crazy. It truly is. And then like part of it, they look at different things that people use for currency in the land, and like this town. I'll never forget this one show I was watching. This one town did currency through teddy bears. So
Nice.
whoever had the most teddy bears like ruled that area because they had the currency of the day. So
Then they start getting fucked up and start like peeling the teddy bear apart. Oh, I got an extra arm for one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
you're gonna eat that chicken pot pie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It actually is kind of crazy. But
you know how to sew? Well, I guess you're fucked now.
I guess the psychological element draws people in. Speaking of which,
it is.
Completely off topic, completely random. I'm super excited for the new Jigsaw movie. I
am too. Me and Ashley are. We're really excited.
I'm gonna go to the midnight for that for sure. When I worked at the theater, I always went to the midnights. I took off and went. I just love that movie series. But anyway, moving on. Kind of a little interesting segment there. We mentioned before that we were going to be talking about the greatest company on earth today. So, without further ado, Punk, why don't you give me a brief overview of your thoughts and direction, and I guess we can rant about this forever. So let's try to keep it somewhat short. Give me a overall synopsis on what you think about Microsoft and their direction and what they're doing right now.
Microsoft, and I'm going to talk to you.
Uh-oh. Yes.
I love you.
Okay.
The UI that you gave me this morning.
You mean the excellent non-tested UI?
Yep.
Okay.
Non-tested.
Perfect.
There's
People
a T
normally
missing
love
in the
those.
middle of it. Because you have infected me with a terrible, terrible update. It not only is horrible, but also terrible. And how many T's can I use to add it into the UTI that you have given me?
Turmoil.
Turmoil. Travesty.
Yeah, there you go. Just start using words that don't make sense.
Turbulent. But no.
Tucker
So
Carlson.
the new UI, the user interface for Xbox Live right now, for Xbox One, is set up, and there's big ass squares on my screen. I have a background picture that I took a picture of in my own time that I cannot see anymore because all I get is half of Galactus destroying two worlds, and half of Galactus is no Galactus at all. And I can tell you that from experience. And a comic book nerd will love that because that's life. But no, so what happened was I woke up this morning, did the update, got the update working. It's got it shows a half a bar. The transparency issues they have with this new update, I can't set the transparency for a lot of these, a lot of the blocks showing on, and they actually are called blocks. I'm not lying to you. It says it straight on my screen. Would you like to customize this block? No, I would not like to customize this block because customization and just dealing with blocks is customization, not at all. I like to.
There goes another fun, happy issue.
God damn you, Xbox. When I talk bad about you, you don't want to work, do you?
It knows.
The controller turned off again. All right, so the biggest problem I have with it is you allow me the option to customize, but when I go to customize it, it constantly is break. We understand it's a beta, but you can't ship out something where 90% of your testers are having the same issue. This is not a test.
Oh yeah, you can. They do.
It's just crap. This is like Friday the 13th online gameplay right now. It's just as buggy as shit and it don't work. So it's so irritating though that you've given us and you're trying to change. You change every single year, and that's fine. It's around this time because new stuff's happening. New updates come out. They always come out in November, which means this is the update that's going to become the staple for every gamer in mid-November. And this is not something that works properly. It doesn't work properly with the system. It's not even good at all. You go to the left and look at your screen name. When you snap something, you got to go all the way over to the right. Everything's top layered, and it looks bad. And I'll even on the Facebook post tonight, I'll even put in the comments section a video of it because the video will show you this is exactly what I see as a gamer and what you will see in November. And if you like the excuse me,
Yummy.
That was rough. Yeah, I tasted that was Mountain Dew Code Red. We got to talk to him, by the way. So there's lots of stuff that you guys will be dealing with when it comes to that stuff releasing. And I feel like you're doing more steps using this AI than their current UI right now that you have available. And everybody needs to get together and they need to tell them to change it. We need to change a few things with this in order for it to work and work properly. And they have enough time too, so everybody needs to get on the horn and be like, hey, or become part of the Insiders program, become part of the preview update. It is a test. Everything doesn't work properly most of the time, but it's worth a tryout, and your voice can be heard, and everybody needs to report things, and if something doesn't work. The problem with a lot of games, and people get pissed off when they ship broken, is because when you do the betas, and you do all these things, and you say nothing, it doesn't help the product. The developer doesn't know anything's wrong at that point, and they will ship it out regardless. Now, if they're Activision, they're going to do it all the time, but that's okay. But for the most part, we just everybody needs to get together, look at the new UI, and go online, Google it, look at it. What don't you like? And then everybody needs to send something to Xbox. Because Xbox, I love you, but this is terrible. This is crap. Who wants this? A lot of gamers don't want it. You can clearly see their comments being deleted on the Insider program on Xbox itself. So that's not too good either.
I realize now that putting Microsoft in this show was a mistake. A lot of things having to do with Microsoft are a mistake. I feel like I try with Microsoft. I really do. And some of the stuff they have is phenomenal. Some of the stuff they have is garbage. And a lot of times the garbage outweighs the phenomenal. It's amazing to me that a company like this has such poor leadership that they truly don't know the direction they're going. One of the best business quotes I ever heard was from my college professor. And he said, the reason Burger King is successful is they don't try to sell a pizza. Burger King can probably mass produce a pizza, but guess what? It's not going to work for several different reasons. You don't have the time and resources and money and manpower to dedicate towards making that pizza. people don't know you have the pizza unless you advertise, so there's a whole nother budget you have to do. People don't go to Burger King typically for a pizza. If they want a pizza, they'll walk right next door to the Pizza Hut in your local town. And there's hundreds of different reasons why. I bring that up because Microsoft is so split in what they want to do that they have lost focus on doing one thing at a time, or at least doing a couple things the right way. This is the same company that runs Windows for PC. And people don't understand that. Do you know how many people use Windows for PC every single day? These people not only have to deal with that, they have the second biggest search engine in the world that they run in Bing. They have Xbox, which is just, we all know how big of a time, how much time you have to dedicate towards that. And then they're also releasing their own products, their own hardware, like the Surface and the Surface Pro and these laptops. And they have mice they sell. Oh, by the way, they decided to make the multi-million-dollar purchase of Minecraft. So now they're updating Minecraft on a daily basis. They have one too many things that they're trying to do as a company, simply put. I understand, I'm guessing here, but in terms of size of company, revenue-wise, they're probably somewhere in the top 10. They're probably, hell, in the top 5. Probably got companies up there like Google, Coke, them, amongst some. But I feel like, they're trying to do too much, simply put. And even now, I've pulled up the Microsoft homepage. And the amount of tabs they have to go to different things.
Oh, they love tabs.
It's chaotic. It's
Yeah.
between, once again, this is the same company that runs the second biggest search engine in the world. That should be your main focus. The biggest search engine in the world, Google, has other side projects, but nothing comes close to their internet browsing. Nothing. There's a reason that the Google phone has yet to compete with things like the iPhone and Android, because that's not their focus. I feel like Microsoft as a whole just has a severe lack of focus, which is causing so many issues. And as somebody who's had Xbox Live for 10 plus years, it pains me to say this, but I don't even see buying their next console. It would be a struggle for me to validate spending what could be anywhere from $500 to $1,000 on a new console, when now I don't even touch mine because I'm on another Windows product, by the way, or a Microsoft product and Windows. I know I'm ranting at this point, but I can't explain to you how many frustrations I've had from this company.
It's good to be on that side, though, because, my problem with me is being a gamer, and with how many things I own on my Xbox, over 350 games digitally, I have no other choice. And that's the sad thing. Like, I only have a few games that'll work on PC, but I don't have a PC that can run it. So as a gamer with no other option right now, it's either I gotta revamp, update, I gotta do all this stuff. I plan on getting the Xbox X because I really like the product. The problem is it's just what they're doing with the product. I feel when you do too much, sometimes little is just enough. It's just like food. Some food tastes amazing with a little bit of ingredients. When you oversaturate it, too many taste bud things go off, and you don't know what you're tasting anymore. Same issue for video gaming. Once you put too much stuff in there, it's just you oversaturate it and there's too much going on, and no longer am I actually finding it easy to play a game that I want to. I have to go through all these options. It's good to have options, but allow me to make that choice. Don't make it for me. Give me that customizability. And I think that's where customizing should exist, is in that factor, allowing me to see what I want to see. Because right now in the UI, all I see is deals with gold at the very top, which means you're shoving that down my throat. I'll click on it if that's what I want to get to. but I have to go underneath that to find what I'm looking for.
Hmm.
And as a gamer, you're shoving that in my face. It's great for your business, but you're not doing me a solid. You're making me go through more things just to get to it. Now, the first UI just before this one is actually set up to where it's off on the side, where you have two bars, one that goes down showing you the games that you've already played, and then your pins down at the bottom. Well, it's not like that anymore. It's one strict line that has maybe two of your friends playing a video game. You branch down to it, and it pulls up in the background, eliminating not only my background picture I took, but showing me a game that I'm seeing this guy playing. It's great to find out, but it's the same user interface as Battlefield and other EA titles. And I feel like that's not going in the right direction. That's just trying to narrow the gap between you and a company such as that. I mean,
so
imitation's its own flattery, but let's not imitate EA, right?
I've got the perfect little thing to prove my point. I pulled up Microsoft's top grossing products / industries over the past year. Okay, the top 5 do not include Xbox. Xbox is number 7 on their list, beaten out by things such as the Surface. And things like Microsoft Word or Office, which is something else I didn't even consider. Windows being the top one. So it's not even in their top 5 of quote-unquote money priorities. Then I look at Sony, and PlayStation is their number 1 priority.
Yep.
And it shows. It really
If they'd only
does.
give us backwards compatibility with a lot of those titles, I'd be happy.
Yeah. But I digress. A lot of Microsoft issues aren't something that can be fixed overnight. I don't believe.
No, it's with time and proper people stating to them what they need out of it. And a lot of people don't state anything. And if you don't have those corrective criticism comments and reviews, and you don't send them to them, they're just going to keep going in that direction. I mean, it's how are you going to teach a child if you don't show what they did wrong?
Right.
It's just that easy. And they're not children, but by all means, you have to kind of treat this the situation that way. You have to tell them what you as a customer and a consumer want and want to use.
Right. A small side note, has nothing to do with anything, but that's how we do it around here. A new Overwatch update comes out today, which features their summer games, which is pretty fun.
What's the summer games in it?
So they come out with new skins, and then the old summer game skins from last year, which was their first overall event, are going to be available to purchase. And then they have something called Lucio Ball, which
I remember that.
it's kind of like Rocket League meets a bunch of Lucios. But
it's Rocket League on skates.
yeah, here's the funny thing though. They actually have a competitive ranked queue for Lucio Ball this year. So
I figured they would do that because that's sort of down the line of what Halo tried to do with Griff Ball.
right, that's exactly it. Yep.
Yeah.
It's that same model, and they're going to run it for a couple weeks or whatever. But that update comes out today, so it hasn't hit yet, and we're at 1:42 Eastern. So I'm not sure when, but I'm sure by the time this video's up, it'll be out. But that's a little side note just to get us going. I know we were just talking about Microsoft and how they don't work. So speaking of annoying pieces of crap that don't seem to ever work right, let's talk about the new Madden.
Ooh, Madden. Ooh,
Yeah.
God. I sell that product.
Yeah. Madden has definitely gone downhill over the years, especially since the change of ownership. Let me ask you this. Are you going to play the new Madden? Are you going to get it?
Yeah, when they put it on EA Access, which is only available for Xbox.
Yeah. Which typically, I mean, and I have a whole problem with EA Access, but shit, they only wait 4 weeks or 4 months or something and then put something on EA Access.
And put it up. I bet you Madden will be on there first thing in February.
Yep. I can't even, man. I can't even take this game seriously. Like, I can't even review it. I can't even give a preview for this game because how much crap this franchise has dug me through over the years. And there used to be a time where I would wait in line at midnight at GameStop to get every single one that came out. And now I could care less. Now I just wonder why it's still a franchise. FIFA has to be outselling them, right?
The problem with the series is they've lost touch with their key demographic, people who want to play sports. And they were gonna do an NCAA game, but what happened? Somebody at Madden had a good idea. They were like, "Oh, look, I think it's EA Tiburon." Probably an intern was like, "Well, why don't you put that as a story mode inside Madden?" And that's actually in Madden now. You can go through an entire NCAA season. It's part of the story mode. It's your upbringing, and it's called Long Shot. The only problem I have with this is no customizable options for story or what your character is. There's a set base where you have a father, you have a mother. They might not be the same race as you, but I guess that's okay. It's PC friendly. And all that stuff. And it's just, how do you cater to all of your fans when you section off people in your storylines? And that's why this is going to fail. It's going to get a lot of backlash. I can tell you when it releases, watch every comment. And not all of them are going to be racist. Not all of them are going to be materialists, all that stuff. They're actually people who enjoyed the franchise, but you're narrowing them and throwing them into an area that maybe they don't feel like they're in the game. I thought that was the whole point of Madden, was to feel like if it's in the game, it's in the game. And creating your character, all these modes, be able to creating your own character, doing a co-op seasons with your friends. That whole point was to bring you and engross you into the game. And this feels like it's aiming towards one standpoint, one person, and not everybody collectively. And I think more people should bitch about that than bitch about, well, why can't it be this way? I think more people need to give options, whereas customizable options were very important. And even putting your own player face on your character back in, I think it was Madden 14, that actually allowed you to, Madden 25, that's right. It was the 25th anniversary one.
Which I think was in 2013, 2014.
Yeah. And they allowed you to put your own player face. You were able to upload a photo from EA.com, and you were able to put that on your character, and your character showed. Just letting you know, I thought nothing came out of the EA Access Bowl, seeing how we're talking about an EA game. That game is actually being taken out of the vault along with FIFA 14. So, with that being said, there are some changes at EA that they're making no sense to us gamers. So hopefully that changes. And I see this game getting a lot of ridicule and a lot of shit. But is it for wrong reasons, or is it for people that want to be able to actually choose different paths? And when you narrow the gap, you give them one path to go, and that's it.
You're coming on an age where in this country, football in general is getting a lot of backlash. And this is coming from someone who's been a devout football fan, watches every single Saturday and Sunday. I have set teams. I have season tickets, or I had season tickets to the local NFL team.
I recently stopped watching it.
Somebody who loves football. Football is getting a lot of backlash, and it's not just for the health issues that have arisen. I would say it's for the
or even players killing people in nightclubs. That used to be a usual thing.
Yeah, or shooting themselves in nightclubs. Yeah. Yeah.
What's that, Plexico Burris?
Yeah. Trust me, as a Steelers fan. What a dumbass. Anyway, I think it's based on the commercialism that goes into it, along with the rules violations and issues that have come. Obviously I'm a Steelers fan, and some people call this out for me, but I don't know how the Patriots as an organization aren't under 24/7 scrutiny. I don't know how many teams are in the league. I think 32, right? 16 on each side.
32, yeah.
How do you not have officials closely monitoring the moves of every single team? How do we not, like, at a certain point, yeah, you have quote unquote freedom, but everything should be monitored. I don't understand it. Even if it's not public eye, you need to have trusted NFL officials in there. But that's a whole nother conversation. I'm getting away from the video game.
We'll get back to that during the middle of the season.
My God. Ooh. Anyway, therefore, because people have such a negative effect, you've stopped watching it. I know a lot of people, including my dad, who used to be one of the biggest sports fans and watched every single game and went to every game he could, barely watches it unless it's his favorite team.
Yeah, because it's all BS now. It's like, I just want to see people playing football. I don't care what ads they have, all that shit.
I've gotten to that point with the NBA, to where
I just want to see them play.
In the last year, the last season, I think I watched a total of 2 or 3 NBA games. Not even from start to finish. Just sat down and actually watched them and enjoyed them. Because, one, even though I'm an hour away from my favorite team, they don't come on TV here. 2, with all the, we're going to bring the 4 best players and the 5 best players, and now we've got really 2 teams against each other all year. It's just not fun. I don't know. I don't look at that league and think it's fun anymore. And a lot of people have that view on football. Not necessarily because one team's hoarding the best players, but because teams are getting accused of cheating. And instead of doing thorough investigations that make sense, that are public, that are viewed, they just say, "Oh, well, we figured they weren't cheating." So we're
It's turned into a WWE drama.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of people actually think the NFL is scripted. A lot of people think it's on a plan. I mean, you look at the Seahawks Patriots Super Bowl. You got the best running back in the league, and you throw it from the 1-yard line. I mean,
what happened when Hurricane Katrina hit? Did New Orleans not get in there somehow?
And a lot of people see these
on the same time. How'd the hell that happen?
And they start forming theories, and I don't know that I believe that. As a matter of fact, I don't believe that. But this, among other factors, including, but certainly not least, the whole head injury, body injury, long-lasting effects of football thing is crazy. I mean, we have guys
suffer from them from semi-pro. I had so many concussions myself. I had like 2 or 3.
Yep.
And I feel them every single night I go to bed.
Yep.
But I know those exist. I've physically been dealt with them. But that's the other stuff is all. It seems like it's just wishy-washy and bullshit.
It is, and it's a bunch of exaggerated shit too, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Because this is gonna sound heartless, but man, you don't sign up to go play football for your whole life and expect to not get injured.
I know.
Just like you don't sign up to be a police officer and expect not to get shot at.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's utterly stupid.
I'm not going to wear the vest today.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly it. You pray and you hope that you make it through the day without an issue, and that's a good day.
And here's the difference. They're getting paid millions, and the cops, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Man.
Fuck that.
And we got all these ridiculous ass number contracts going out. Jay Cutler, who I think is should be banned from the city of Chicago. Like I'm surprised they even let him in, let alone re-signed him and kept him as long as they did.
He's like the Tony Stewart early years of football.
Yeah, he just signed a $10 million contract for 1 year to go to Miami. I don't get it.
Miami, you're in for a world of hurt. Don't expect anything good this year.
Yeah, they don't. But nonetheless, I
don't know though. Here's the theory, and we're going to do this right now because the football season has not started because of this air date. I can almost guarantee that they're going to get in the playoffs, Because who was Jay Cutler being picked over than someone else who started up some shit in the NFL? They got to make it look like there was a reason for this. So I bet you we see them in the playoffs.
Who knows? A lot of people have given him shit. He deserves it. But, nonetheless.
He got picked over Kaepernick.
Yep. That's what I'm talking about. I don't think... I struggle just because I'm looking... I looked up his numbers the other day, and they were a disgrace. They were quite bad. But anyway, I think that's about it for today. Do you have anything else you wish to add, good sir?
No. I look forward to some of the games coming out, of course. The Mario Rabbids that we talked about.
Why don't we go ahead and review that next show? Or give a preview for that?
Yeah. We'll definitely do that.
Because I'm on the fence about it, and I don't own a Switch, but I imagine if I got a Switch, that would be one of the games I went for.
I'll have to come over one day and actually bring it along. I have 4 controllers.
Yeah, we'll
good.
Have to.
Good time.
We'll have to do that because I'm interested in it, but I'm not sure. I like it.
We just need more games.
How long do you think it's going to be before Nintendo implements a reward system for playing games, such as achievements or trophies?
They have a reward system for purchasing games right now, but they do not have a trophy system. I don't believe the Japanese overseas, as you know from Sony, are very prideful, and they don't believe that they should be told what to do. Whereas Sony people have been saying, hey, you need to make backwards compatibility. They've said no. They're not talking on it. They don't have any plans to ever do it. And the same thing is for Nintendo. You can't tell them that they didn't make enough NES classics because they'll look at you and laugh in your face, and they'll be like, "No, we did exactly what we wanted to do," and they did. They're very prideful, and they're going to stay in one direction, and that's how they're going to do it.
I understand that, but something I think about whenever I play games is, what can I do to get achievements? I don't necessarily.
How am I getting rewarded for it? It's a good thing to have.
And if there's a system in the game that rewards you, something like Fallout, where you get rewarded by being able to build your own base up as you go, or Grand Theft Auto, where we were discussing earlier, where you get money and stuff. Okay, that's fine. I don't need achievements for that. But something like Mario Rabbids,
I feel like if Nintendo does anything right, it's creating games. There are a lot of games out there for Nintendo that playing them is its own reward, which I understand they can have that argument too, where if the game is good enough, you're rewarded in the terms of how much you enjoy it.
Right.
And that's cool. There are games like that. Mario Kart, I don't expect any rewards or anything ever from it. But actually, Mario Kart gives you in-game content while you win every race and stuff like that to customize your vehicle. Mm-hmm. So there is stuff in these games. It's just there's nothing, no outer lane achievement, nothing that tells you, oh, you did this on this day, or like Xbox has their achievements or PlayStation has their trophies. Right. So I think they do need some sort of reward or something to kind of like that nostalgic feel to be like, oh yeah, I got that on that day, or I got so many bonus points, and it's interesting. We'll see what they do, but I don't expect it anytime soon.
Right. All right, well, I guess that's something we can hope for in the future. But, so I think that's just about it for us today. Like I said, we're not sure on our next date for our show. It may be tomorrow, it may be Thursday, maybe Friday, but we'll definitely try to get back to you throughout this week. And as always, be sure to follow our Facebook page, facebook.com/punkandlink. It's down there on the bottom, and I'll be sure to put it in the description of the video as well. Until then, I'm Link.
And I'm Punk.
And we will see you later.